Before we begin, can I remind members and of the committee and members and people in the public gallery to make sure the phones are switched off completely. If they go off, it'll interfere with the recordings. I wish to turn to some housekeeping matters. The minutes of the meeting 26th of June have been circulated. Are there any matters arising? No matters arising. Are the minutes agreed? Agreed. Correspondence list, Transport Tourism, Wednesday 28. Correspondence will be recorded as read into the minutes. Correspondence 2019-490 A and B, emailed from Leo Curley, Public Bills Office. The notification was sent to sponsors of the private member's bill and is now a matter for members concerned to request the committee to include the bill in our work programme, and this request is awaited. It is proposed to note that correspondence. Is that agreed? Agreed. Correspondence 2019-491, emailed from Arlene Woods, Irish Tourism Industry Confederation, seeking a meeting before the Joint Committee to discuss the state of the tourism industry and the challenges and opportunities the industry faces. Proposed to schedule this meeting after the summer recess. Agreed? Agreed. 2019-492, emailed from Des Whelan, Chair Designate Port of Waterford. We were told that the Minister wished to nominate or to do the process by inviting him here, but he's declined at this moment and is seeking an alternative date that suits. So we'll schedule this meeting as soon as we can. Is that agreed? Agreed. Correspondence item 2019-493, emailed from the Chairman myself, forwarding an email from Deputy Alan Farrell concerning the recent primetime programme on greyhounds, and in fact it's a matter for the Department of Agriculture being advised, and the Agriculture Committee are actually dealing with this. So we'll forward his letter to that committee if that's agreed. Agreed. Correspondence 2019-494, emailed from Aoife McQuillan, Department of Transport, concerning future appointment of Ms Rose Hines as Chairperson Designate Shannon Group. It's supposed to schedule this meeting after the summer recess. Agreed? Agreed. Correspondence emailed from Michael O'Connell, Department of Transport, inquiring as to the schedule regarding the Air Navigation and Transport Bill 2019. Now, what the Minister's Office has said that this proposed legislation is urgent, so they've asked us to deal with it. So the clerk has arranged that we would deal with it if we can agree on next Wednesday, and that's why we have it here. If that's agreed, agreed. Correspondence item from 2019-496, Mary Daly, Department of Transport, saying that the Chair Designate of Fáilte Ireland is unable to appear before the Joint Committee and is seeking an agreeable date as soon as we can. Is that agreed? Agreed. I now turn to EU scrutiny. Schedule A, COM 2017-648. Proposed that this proposal does not warrant further scrutiny. Is that agreed? Agreed. 2018-279. Proposed this proposal does not warrant further scrutiny. Is that agreed? Agreed. COM 2018-286. Proposed this proposal does not warrant further scrutiny. Is that agreed? Agreed. COM 2018-438. Proposed this proposal does not warrant further scrutiny. Is that agreed? Agreed. Schedule B. It's proposed that the proposals listed in Schedule B, that's COM 2019-159, 2019-221, 2019-223 and 2019-255 do not warrant further scrutiny. Is that agreed? Agreed. International recognition for Irish athletics. Can I again remind members, witnesses and those in the public gallery to please turn off their phones as they may interfere with the equipment. I would like to welcome the following representatives from the Friends of Irish Athletics: Larry Larkin, Willie Keane, Colin Rennicks and Dara Rennicks. You are very welcome. Before we commence, in accordance with procedure, I am required to read the following. I have to read this to all witnesses. By virtue of Section 1721 of the Defamation Act 2009, witnesses are protected by absolute privilege in respect of the evidence you are to give to the committee. However, if you are directed by the committee to cease giving evidence in relation to a particular matter and you continue to do so, you are entitled thereafter only to a qualified privilege in respect of your evidence. You are directed that only evidence connected with the subject matter is to be given, and you are asked to respect the parliamentary practice practice to the effect that, where possible, should not criticise nor make charges against any person, persons or entity by name or in such a way as to make him or her identifiable. Members are reminded of long-standing parliamentary practice to the effect that members should not comment on, criticise and make charges against either a person outside these houses or an official, either by name or in such a way as to make him or her identifiable. And I just want to advise our witnesses that you have submitted an opening statement in advance, which we have circulated. The clerk has informed me that just before the meeting commenced, a further 3 opening statements, which have not yet been seen by the members, so we're going to circulate those to the members. And I will ask the clerk to circulate them. But I'll ask the witnesses, if you keep to your original statement, which is, I think, is pretty comprehensive, and then, as questions are asked, make your other commentaries if that's acceptable. So I now invite you to make your opening statement, and Harry Larkin.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of my group, we'd like to thank you and the committee for inviting us here today. We're a group of former All-Ireland medal winners in athletics, and we're here to speak about an ambiguity regarding the representation of Irish athletics competing in international competition. I'd just like to introduce you. Willie Keane is on my right, the holder of 56 All-Ireland titles from Kilkee and County Clare. Colin Rennicks, a holder of many All-Ireland titles from Bohermead and County Meath, and his son Dara, who has the distinction of winning 6 County Meath seniors in a row and is on the verge of making a number of Irish teams. So we have the older generation and the newer generation to pass on their views to you today. The athletic situation all started way back in 1934. The International Amateur Athletic Federation, as they were then named, the world governing body for athletics, adopted a new political boundary rule which divided the country into 26 counties, Irish Free State, and the 6 counties of Northern Ireland, with the British claiming jurisdiction over the 6 counties. The introduction of the political boundary rule split the sport of athletics in Ireland for the next 85 years and deprived generations of Irish athletes the honour of representing the island of Ireland in international athletics. There was an agreement in 1999. The inter-association agreement was based on an all-island structure for athletics, both at home and at international level. Recognition of this agreement by all parties involved would have solved the dispute, but this has not happened. So, a basic outline. The memorandum and articles of the Association of Athletic Ireland states that the AAI is an all-island body whose object is to foster and develop athletics throughout the island of Ireland. It defines Ireland as meaning the island of Ireland, and it says that a county board may be formed in any one of the 32 counties of Ireland. We now find ourselves in a situation where the Minister for Sport, Sports Ireland and the President and previous Presidents of the AAI are stating that AAI must comply with the IAAF political boundary rule, which they say restricts the AAI's international recognition to representing the Republic of Ireland. The area causing the most concern for our group and from a lot of Irish people is the 1999 Inter-Association Agreement and recognition by the International Athletic Association. There are 2 opinions being expressed. The first opinion is Athletics Ireland is an all-island body and accepted as such by the IAAF and the United Kingdom Athletics since 1999, with Irish teams representing the island of Ireland at European and World Championships. The second opinion is Athletics Ireland is an all-island body at home on the island of Ireland, but when we go to the European and World Championships, the IAAF recognise Ireland as the Republic of Ireland and not the island of Ireland as per their political boundary rule. Our group and many more around the country believe that because of the 1999 Inter-Association Agreement, we believe that Irish athletes should be accepted as representing the island of Ireland at European and World Championships and enjoy the same recognition which is granted to the International Olympic Committee and the Olympic Federation of Ireland is their new name, to represent Ireland at the Olympic Games. Now, Mr. Chairman, if you like, I can read the history or we can move on. It's entirely up to yourself.
Well, I'm happy to take your opening statement, which is, I think, pretty comprehensive.
So will I keep reading on? Okay.
Well, history, in fairness to you, I think it's about 20 or 30 pages. Is it?
No, the total document is 7 pages.
Pardon?
The total document is 7 pages.
Of the history?
No.
The history I have here. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's the appendix. You want to read the appendix, is it?
No.
Sorry, no.
So,
apologies. No, if you keep to your opening
okay,
statement.
fine, I'll do that.
And
okay.
if you want to add anything afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So I'll give you a brief history of Irish athletics. We would like to take this opportunity to give you some background on Irish athletic history. Athletics is one of the oldest sports in Ireland, and over the last 150...
I thought you meant the appendix.
I
thought you meant to read the whole appendix.
No.
Okay.
So, will I keep going?
Keep going.
Okay,
yeah,
great, thank you.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest sports in Ireland, and over the last 150 years there's been 10 different associations who have promoted athletics on the island. In June 1922, following our independence, the three athletic associations, the Gaelic Athletic Association GAA 1884, the Amateur Athletic Association 1885 and the Cross Country Association of Ireland 1886, they merged to form a new association called the National Athletic and Cycling Association, NACAI. The new association will govern athletics and cycling in the 32 counties of Ireland. The NACA applied to the International Amateur Federation for membership and were approved at their Paris Congress in 1924 as a member for the island of Ireland. So for the first time in Irish sporting history, one association for athletics and cycling represented the island of Ireland in international competition. In 1925, a dispute arose between the NACA and a number of its Belfast clubs, with some breaking away and forming a new Northern Ireland Association. In 1930, the British Athletic Association claimed jurisdiction over Northern Ireland and affiliated to the IAAF as Great Britain and Northern Ireland. From 1924 to 1934, Irish athletes were recognised internationally as representing the island of Ireland. On the 6th of October 1934, the NACA held a special congress in Dublin to vote to accept or reject the border in Ireland. The result was 31 votes to 23 to reject the political boundary rule in Ireland. The NACA were suspended by the IAAF on the 1st of May 1935 for refusing to recognise the border in Ireland. This left the vast majority of Irish athletes suspended from all international competition. 6 clubs from Dublin and 1 from Clare refused to accept a democratic vote at the NACA Congress and broke away from the NACAI. They formed the Amateur Athletic Union of Éire on the 1st of April 1937. Even though they had only 7 clubs, the IAAF accepted them as a new member for Éire because they recognised the border. The AAUE was dissolved in 1967 when a new association formed, Bord Luchlas na HÉireann, BLE, was formed. The IAAF accepted BLE as its member for Éire because they also recognised the border. Since 1934, the international recognition of Irish athletics has been in dispute, with efforts to resolve it taking place from 1930s up to date. In the late 1990s, the Minister for Sport informed the athletic associations that the government had decided to fund only one athletic body, and he encouraged the associations to come together and end their division. Negotiations then took place between the National Athletic and Cultural Association of Ireland, Bord Luchlas na HÉireann and Athletics Northern Ireland. These meetings led to the formation of Athletics Ireland. Special congresses were held in November 1999, where the delegates were informed there was to be one new athletic association for the island of Ireland, which was to be based on an all-island structure, both at home and at international level. Bord Luchlas na HÉireann BLE voted to dissolve, the National Athletic and Cultural Association voted to join the new association, and the Northern Ireland Athletic Federation was to continue as a constituent part of the United Kingdom Athletics. This allowed for the formation of Athletic Ireland to take place. Athletics Ireland then affiliated to the IAAF to represent the island of Ireland. Today we have 2 associations, Athletics Northern Ireland, who are affiliated to the United Kingdom, and Athletics Ireland. The agreement was submitted to the International Association of Athletic Federations, IAAF, the world governing body for athletics, and was formally approved at its council meeting in Monaco in November 1999, where Athletics Ireland was accepted as a new member federation for Ireland. This agreement was also approved by the United Kingdom Athletics. At the beginning, Athletics Ireland had no constitution, but new officers consulted with the members, and within 2 years a new constitution was approved at an EGM. The Constitution defines Athletics Ireland as a non-ambiguous all-island body, and on the 26th of August 1999, Athletics Ireland was incorporated as a limited company with its memorandum and articles of association closely following the previous Constitution. There is no reference in the Articles of Association stating that Athletics Ireland is a 26-county association. The Articles of Association are as follows, and they are very interesting. The main object for which the company is established throughout the island of Ireland to foster, develop track and field, road running, walking, cross-country running, mountain running and ultra-distance running. Perhaps the most important one here is Ireland means the island of Ireland. Provincial councils may be formed in each of the 4 provinces, and it gives a list of the 9 counties of Ulster, which are Antrim, Armagh, Cavan, Derry, Donegal, Down, Fermanagh, Monaghan and Tyrone. County boards may be formed in each of the 32 counties of Ireland, and a county is defined as being one of the 32 counties of Ireland. These are very interesting. These are IWF constitution as well. It says, strive to ensure that no racial, religious, political or any other kind of discrimination be allowed in athletics, and take all practical measures to stop such discrimination. And strive to secure that there shall be no hindrance to participation of any country or individual in athletics competition on racial, religious or political grounds, and to ensure that there is no such hindrance in athletic meetings over which the Association or the IWF have control. The agreement between the parties recognises the right of the IWF member with jurisdiction in Ireland to organise athletics throughout the island of Ireland. A member of Athletics Ireland can sit on the board of Athletics Northern Ireland, and a member of Athletics Ireland and Northern Ireland can sit on the board of Athletics Ireland. IWF rules require all members to submit their constitution to the Federation each year, and the Athletics Ireland have done this since 2002. It seemed that decades of acrimony had ended. Athletes from all parts of the island of Ireland were entitled to represent Ireland internationally. But at the same time, athletes from Northern Ireland who wanted to represent the United Kingdom were also free to do so. This agreement gave parity of esteem for all athletes and created excellent cooperation on the ground. Unfortunately, a shadow has fallen over the agreement. The fundamental founding principles on which Athletic Ireland was formed as an all-island association are now thrown into doubt, because officials of Athletics Ireland ascertained that the AI can only represent the Republic of Ireland at European and World Championships, because it is obliged to obey the IWF rules, and one of these states that one association can only be recognised country for the 1934 political boundary rule. In September 2009, the then President of Athletics Ireland, Mr Liam Hennessy, wrote in a reply to a letter from Bohermeen Athletic Club County Meath that the Athletic Association of Ireland is a member for Ireland and recognised as such by the International Association of Athletic Federations in its constitution. The constitution states that the jurisdiction of members shall be limited to the political boundary of the country they represent. Our area of jurisdiction is the Republic of Ireland. Mr Hennessy's statement has been endorsed by his successors as President of Athletics Ireland, Mr Kieran O'Cahon 2012-2016 and Mrs Georgina Drum 2016-2020. On the 14th of January 2019, in a reply to a letter from Mr Larry Larkin, the Minister for Sport, Mr Shane Ross, made the following statement. I have inquiries made with Sports Ireland and I am informed that since 1924, Athletics Ireland has been affiliated to the International Association of Athletic Federations, the world governing body for the sport. Under the IWF statutes, Athletics Ireland's jurisdiction at international events covers the 26 counties, and as such, the status of Ireland at European and World Athletic Championships is on that basis. Just wish to point out, the Minister is incorrect in stating that it was 1924 when Athletics Ireland was affiliated to the IWF. It was in fact 1999. It was the NACA who affiliated to the IWF in 1924. These statements are not in keeping with what is contained in the 1999 Inter-Association Agreement and completely undermine the foundations on which Athletic Ireland was built and leaves Irish athletics with a dilemma that must be addressed. The vast majority of Irish sporting organisations represent the island of Ireland in international competition. This includes the Olympic Federation of Ireland and Cycling Ireland and over 60 other associations, which I have given you, Mr Chairman, in the appendix. Irish athletic history and Irish cycling history have a lot in common. To solve the cycling dispute, the three cycling associations, the National Cycling Association, NCA 32 County, the Irish Cycling Federation ICF 26 county and the Northern Ireland Cycling Federation NICF 6 counties. They came together and formed Cycling Ireland and ended many years of bitter dispute in their sport. Cycling Ireland then applied to the Union Cycling International for a derogation from the political boundary rule for Ireland and were successful in getting full recognition for cycling to represent the island of Ireland in all international competition. We have been greatly impressed by the progress which the sport of cycling in Ireland has made since it overcome its history of acrimony and entered an era of wholehearted cooperation and incredible progress and success. We would like to see this mirrored in athletics, with Athletics Ireland and Athletics Northern Ireland standing proudly together for the good of Irish athletes on the island of Ireland and follow the example set by Cycling Ireland and seek all-island recognition at European and World Championships. When we go to the Olympic Games, we go under the authority of the Olympic Federation of Ireland, which represents the island of Ireland in all sports, including athletics, and is known as Team Ireland. The Olympic Federation of Ireland has stated that athletes from Northern Ireland have the option of participating under its auspices on an all-island team or in the Great Britain Olympic team. Hockey players Mark and Paul Gleghorn from Antrim went to the Olympic Games in Rio in 2016. Paul represented Team Ireland and his brother Mark represented Team GB, Great Britain. 29 athletes from the north across 7 sports, with 6 in track and field, went to the Rio Olympics. 8 competed for Team Great Britain and 21 competed for Team Ireland. So this is very important, Mr. Chairman. We believe this is the correct way forward, with athletes being allowed to choose which country they wish to represent, with no political boundary rule in operation. In the context of building peace and reconciliation on this island, a political boundary rule has no place in sport. It is now time to have it removed for the good of Irish athletes and, with the assistance of the Good Friday Agreement, give Irish athletes the right to compete for the island of Ireland, Team Ireland, as is the case when Ireland competes in the Olympic Games. The vast majority of other international sporting competition are thereby making the future bright for all Irish athletes. The interplay between politics and sport is seldom far from the surface in Ireland. Athletics exhibit this characteristic more than any other sport. So the reason we're here today, Mr. Chairman, and this is the crux of the matter, is we would be very grateful if the Joint Committee for Transport, Tourism and Sport would write to Mr. Shane Ross, Minister for Sport, expressing its support for an all-island recognition for Irish athletics at European and World Championship, and request Minister Ross to make representation to all relevant organisations to ensure that this is achieved. And we have a very firm proposal to put before you. So with goodwill from all sides, the international recognition status can be resolved so as to allow Irish athletes join the family of Irish sporting organisations that represent the island of Ireland at European and world stage. So we wish to submit the following proposal to the Joint Committee for Transport, Tourism and Sport for its consideration and support, and to advise the Minister to request the following: that the Athletic Association of Ireland, in consultation with Athletics Northern Ireland, will seek the approval of the International Association of Athletic Federations for Athletic Association of Ireland to become the recognised member for the island of Ireland. And this is very important. This can be done by seeking a derogation for Ireland from the IWF political boundary rule. And if we're successful in this, what it means is the rule will remain in the IWF constitution but will not apply to Ireland. So on behalf of my colleagues in the front desk and on behalf of our people in the gallery, we would like to take the opportunity to thank you for having us here today, and we look forward to your support.
Okay. John, do you say something?
Thank you, Mr. Larkin, and I know that you have followed this, if you like, attempt and genuine attempt to get the recognition over the years, because I know I've met you a good number of years ago, and all of the things you have outlined, thank you for your presentation again, are familiar to me because I got some of the same responses from some of the sporting bodies that you did. after listening to you articulating it so well there, I think Brexit is simple compared to this conundrum. And I see the problem in the sense that it seems to be, if I'm interpreting it rightly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it's actually a political problem within the sporting organisation or the IAF. Am I right? You know, in other words, it's not. I very much support what you're looking for, but I suppose what you're asking is that the political system, the minister, for instance, would request them to do what you're asking.
Yes.
But that's the difficulty in some respects, that how that mixes. In other words, how politics can impose a rule on a sporting or the governing bodies of a sporting organisation. Okay. That's as I see it the conundrum, and I wish you well on it. I would support you on it, but I can't. I hope it works. Let's put it like that. Okay. I hope it works. I mean, is there the view that I would have got in the past, and you have got there from Athletics Ireland and so on, is that they're, and Sport Ireland, and that they're not, don't have an ambition to change this. Is that what you have got up to now?
Yeah. Well, Senator, thank you for your comments, and thank you for your favourable comments. The situation is, this is a political interference in the sport of athletics going back to 1934. It was the British that drew up this political boundary rule. It affected Ireland initially. There was no place else in the world except Ireland that it applied to. So having any fear of getting the political system involved, I would rule that out, because this is a political problem that was created all those years ago, and we need the assistance of political people to rectify it. Now, with regard to the IWF, our contacts with the IWF over a long number of years indicate that if we resolve the problem on the island of Ireland, they will endorse it. So the problem, from my many years of experience, is on this island. There is a reluctance on the part of certain people and certain organisations to even address this issue, not to talk about trying to resolve it. So they need a push, and they need a push from the paymaster, who is the Irish government. Athletics Ireland are getting substantial money from the Irish taxpayer, which is great, and I hope to get more, because we're all athletic people. But this is the situation. So this is where we're endeavouring to resolve this issue for quite a number of years. And we've raised it with several politicians. We raised the issue with the North-South Ministerial Council. We had a number of meetings with the North-South Ministerial Council, and we had fantastic cooperation. We brought it to a very advanced stage. But for some reason or other, Athletics Ireland took a decision that they weren't going to discuss anything that was outside the 26th country remit. They say that they're obliged to do this to protect their membership of the IWF. Now, what we're saying is, from the contacts we're getting, the IWF are saying, you sort it out and we'll endorse it. The British have already endorsed it. They have a section of Northern Ireland. They're not afraid to get an all-Ireland association. And just by way of saying the British, His Highness Prince Charles was in Armagh only a week or two ago, and he met Rory Best, the Irish rugby captain. This was on the 6 o'clock news, Mr. Chairman. So he was asked by the reporter, you spoke to Prince Charles about sport. And he said, and what was his response, and what did you say to him? And Rory Best said, yes, we indicated to Prince Charles the importance of all island structures, like the Rugby Association and the Gaelic Football Association and all other bodies. This is extremely important to us, he said. And he said the Prince was very taken by it. So I would say to you that the British are not the problem. Our problem is on this island. We must get people to stand up and say we're going to address this issue. We have indicated a clear route to solve this issue. We're not in the business of attacking people or anything like that. That's long since gone. We're not in the business of advocating new associations. The Athletic Association of Ireland and Athletics Northern Ireland, they're doing a very good job promoting athletics. We would have certain issues we discussed with promotion of athletics, but that's not for today. So these two associations, along with the political structure, with encouragement from you guys and people across the water, this can be resolved. Now, if In our presentation, we have shown you 60 organisations. That's 60 that are all island bodies. Now, I've contacted all these people, and they do nothing but express pride in the fact that they're an all-island body. And a couple of weeks ago, we had Rory McIlroy, the golfer, on World Television, saying that he was bursting with pride to go and play golf for Ireland in Rio. The island of Ireland, he said, where he always played his golf, and he said he was so proud to do that. So we have all, and if you look at the general setup of Irish society, you have the trade union movement, all Ireland, you have our churches, all Ireland, our tourist board, all Ireland. And if you go back to the Good Friday Agreement, there are 7 to 10 groups there that are set up under international treaty to represent the island of Ireland. So I would say to you, Senator, nobody should be afraid in the political organisation to address this issue. You should roll up your sleeves and say, this is not right, it can be resolved without causing any insult to anybody. And we must make it clear, Mr Chairman, there are people in Northern Ireland who are British and Unionists, and we wish to respect that right. They want to compete for Team GB, and we respect that right, and we say that. But it's a two-way street here. We would like them to respect our right to compete for the island of Ireland. We're not causing offence to anybody, or we don't want to cause offence to anybody. In Willie Keane's presentation in a few minutes, you'll understand what happened this map because of this international boundary rule. And these people here, Dara will indicate to you the young generation, what they want. He's on the verge of making a number of Irish teams. He's familiar with all the athletes, and he'll give you an indication of how they think. So, Senator, I would like to take the opportunity publicly. You've met me on a number of occasions, and you've always been very kind and supportive, and I thank you for that.
Now, there's two members offering, Deputy Munster.
Yeah, my time.
Yeah, no, I know that, and Senator Feighan as well. So,
okay.
I want to try and get this happily resolved. Everybody get an opportunity to speak. I go from normally just a process, Fine Gael to Fianna Fáil to Sinn Féin. So if I take you, then I'll take Frankie, and then I'll go back. I'll take members of the committee first. I think that keeps everybody happy. The second thing is, I just have one question for you. We meet with, obviously, Sport Ireland a lot. So have you met with John Tracy? And I respect your position here. Have you met with him, and what is the outcome?
Chairman, we've met with John Tracy on a number of occasions, not in the recent past.
How recently did you meet with him?
It would be over 10 years ago.
10 years ago,
yeah.
Okay.
I have a minute of a meeting here where John has shown no interest in the project since then. He gave us an undertaking in a written document which I have here that he will progress with his northern counterparts, and we were waiting to be contacted. We've been constantly sending messages on that. So,
yeah.
But John indicated to us at the meeting, which was with the Athletic Association of Ireland, and Ozzy Kilkenny was the chairman at the time. Sure. And they all indicated, first of all, Mr Kilkenny complimented our group on the work we had done.
I just want to know, when did you...
You know, I know what John said was, at that meeting, the time was now right to secure the licence for the island of Ireland. But unfortunately, nothing has happened.
Okay. So, Deputy Munster, yeah.
And thanks very much for your very comprehensive presentation and in all its detail. Just to make note, we have Sports Ireland in to the committee in the next couple of weeks. So if I could propose maybe that we put that as an item on the agenda just to for Sport Ireland to give us an update on progress.
Circulate your document.
And if you're to send your presentation on to Sport Ireland in advance so that they know exactly what you're seeking. It's clearly a problem for athletics and not the case for over 60 other organisations, as you say at least. And it's, I mean, who doesn't have a sense of pride when you talk about Team Ireland, no matter what type of sport it is? It's the Team Ireland, the island of Ireland, every county represented on the, you know, on the island, and everybody from every county can cheer on a true Team Ireland. It's clearly not. You're being denied this as it stands. Now, you had said about the proposals. I was going to ask. You had said about the political boundary rule, and I see in your opening statement you had that the Cycling Ireland had been successful in the derogation from the political boundary rule. If you could just outline briefly how they went about that to do that, but also and see if we as a committee can learn from that too. But I would also propose the statement here that they had asked that we would write to the Minister. But I would propose that we, because that's the purpose of having them in here today, is to progress this issue and try and have it addressed. So we'll lift it up with Sports Ireland, but we'll also write to the Minister, and not just to ask him to express his support. I mean, that's easily done in a sentence, but also to put the proposals that the group here are.
In fairness to everybody, and particularly people who aren't here, I think if we give the documents that we received to the required bodies, which is John Tracy, Sport Ireland and the Minister, for their responses.
But I'm just saying,
I think that we should be very careful about that, so that we're giving them the opportunity to comment on the issues. Yeah,
no, I'm not. What I'm saying is, if we as a committee write to the Minister, not just asking him would he express his support, but also pointing out to him that these are the proposals made by this particular group, and for the Minister to make a statement on that. That's
to ask him to comment on what you're saying.
And whether or not he was going to support it.
But that's a matter for him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just to write to him and ask him.
I just want to be careful that we treat everybody. Your proposals, we give them to the Minister, we give them to Sports Ireland, and we get the reply, and we'll deal with that in a public meeting. Yeah, well, that's what I'm asked. That we write to him first and ask him to give clarify whether or not he's in support of this, and what his stance is on the particular proposals, because it seems to me from what we've heard that the only way to progress this and to sort it is by looking, unless somebody else has. There's been no meeting with John Tracy for 10 years. That I'm shocked by. That doesn't make sense.
That's with our group now. That would be specifically with our group.
Yeah, but your proposals, yes, that you haven't met them for 10 years. And yet, they have the most fantastic centre in the country out there. You know,
Sports Ireland have a section in their website stating that they have an all-island section within Sports Ireland, where they advocate creating all-island institutions where possible, and they meet on a regular basis with Sports Northern Ireland to discuss all-island issues. Good. So there's no problem. I think you should talk to them, and we'll try and facilitate that meeting. Sorry,
Can I just say too, in relation to Sports Ireland, and I don't know, if you say it's been 10 years since you met, but also Sports Ireland, I would imagine, are acutely aware of this situation. And I suppose part of the reason we're looking to ask some questions, maybe just how proactive or how non-proactive have they been in pursuing this? Because if there's, at least 60 other sporting bodies that, are partaking under an All-Ireland team, then why has the athletics been left to one side? So that's, whilst this group may not have made contact for 10 years, there's an onus on Sports Ireland to pursue matters like this for the benefit of sporting from a national point of view. So if the committee agrees,
have to meet.
Well, that's precisely it. So we need to see both the Minister and Sports Ireland.
Conditions or prejudices.
Yeah. So if was the committee in favour of my two proposals to Sports Ireland to put it on the agenda as a matter for them to address, and the letter to the Minister, which includes the proposals made
from the group.
Yes,
To address, you asked me about the Cycling Ireland situation. In 1946, cycling, it was very badly divided, as you can see from my document now. It was an exceptionally bitter dispute in cycling, and it was very, very nasty over many number of years. So in the early 1970s, a number of cyclists came together and said, this is not good enough, it's destroying our sport, because cycling was on the ground. And they decided over a number of years to get together, initially private meetings and then meetings between all the groups. And they formed what the group is known now as Cycling Ireland. But this is very important, and it's an example of what we could achieve. Since Cycling Ireland became into existence in 1988, the increase in the amount of people participating in cycling and the standard in cycling on the island of Ireland is just unbelievable. So it will be a benefit to athletics to get rid of this boundary rule. And the example is Cycling Ireland. They have created a pathway for us, And it's an example. It's almost a carbon copy example of the athletic situation. And if we can get the people from Cycling Ireland to come in and help us, I think it'd be wonderful.
Sorry, Senator Feighan.
Yeah. Look, my apologies that I was late, but like Senator Daly, ironically, I was we're on the steering committee of the centenaries from 1919 on, and so you can understand the complexities. And we're coming into a meeting like this, it brings back exactly what has happened on the island of Ireland and between Ireland and the UK. Look, I love when people say, and I would be a big Republic of Ireland soccer fan. I ran a double-decker bus to Germany in 1988, and everyone says, wouldn't it be great to have an All-Ireland soccer team? And I'd say, God, it'd be great. Well, then we could compete. I know there's no soccer in the Commonwealth Games, and there's Commonwealth Games, and straight away we couldn't do that. And you rightly said, Larry, it's a two-way street. And, you know, and I've been an advocate of Ireland rejoining the Commonwealth or looking at more associations with the Commonwealth, and because we have 70% of the people born on the island of Ireland residing overseas, residing in Commonwealth countries, from a sporting, from a cultural, from an education, from just, you know, Australia, Canada. But deep down, let's be honest, deep down we have this resistance, and deep down, and I state again, it's Anglophobic. We want nothing to do with the Commonwealth. It's not the British Commonwealth, it's Commonwealth nations since the 1950s. It's Anglophobic, let's be honest. So you're coming at it from a different angle, and I'm coming where we're coming from. Now, I did work closely with Hockey Ireland to try to get an All-Ireland hockey team. I've never been at a hockey match. I've never been at a cricket match. But we very nearly had an All-Ireland hockey team competing in the Commonwealth Games in Australia. And it went down. We were looking at rankings, and you're probably very aware of the rankings and various things like that. It was all agreed. But I actually believe that it was the Northern Ireland Hockey Association that didn't want the All-Ireland hockey team. And in every organisation, as in the FAI, everyone watches their own little space. And what you're trying to do is so first of all, I'm asking the question, where are the athletics Northern Ireland? Where exactly do they stand? Are they up for this? Because it really isn't a political issue, really, because since the Good Friday Agreement, it's to do with if the Athletic Northern Ireland Federation wanted to come in with the IAF, you know, to join an athletic association, I don't think there would be any problem politically. That's been straight up. Secondly, I think it's worthwhile, but you need buy-in, and what's happened in rugby, what has happened in rowing, the All-Ireland teams are fine. So I'm going to ask you the question. Let's say, if I'm an athlete from the Republic of Ireland, and I know it's happened once or twice, I cannot compete in the Commonwealth Games. If I'm from Northern Ireland, and I'm a nationalist or unionist, I can compete in the Commonwealth Games. And you know, as athletes, I think it would be much more beneficial. So all I'm saying, you said it's a two-way street. I think you've opened up that conversation. Yes. And I absolutely believe what you're fighting for is wonderful. But I think we need to open the conversation even greater. The two-way street. As you know, we had an All-Ireland soccer team. It was the FAI who split from the IFA. I did call jokingly one day that we could have an Ireland soccer team. We play our home games in Belfast, you know. But I'm just saying, deep down there is an Anglophobic issue with us as well. So it has to be opened up in a two-way. So where would you? So anyway.
Senator, thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate them. With regard to the Northern Ireland Athletic Association, as you're well aware, I can't speak for them, but I've met them on a number of occasions over the years. The indications all the time were they would be able to accommodate an all-Ireland structure, provided their link with Britain was retained. That's fair enough. There's no problem there. Now, whether they'll say that in public...
Can I say the link is through the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, with regard to the Commonwealth Games, Mr Chairman, this is a personal answer. I haven't discussed this with my group, didn't expect this question, but I'll deal with it. The situation with the Commonwealth Games is that I would advocate that if we go to the Commonwealth Games, the first clarification, you've done it yourself, is it's now the Commonwealth of Nations, not the British Commonwealth, which is very important. Second thing is the standard of competition there would suit our athletes very well. But the only proviso I have is would have to go as an all-island team. I would not be able to stand over two teams, one from the north and one from the south, going to the Commonwealth Games. So I hope that answers your question.
So what you're saying is that somebody from Northern Ireland who wished to take part in an all-island Commonwealth team, you wouldn't have a problem with, but if they wanted to take part in a British Commonwealth team, you would have.
No. Oh God, no.
Sorry.
No.
Let's get that
the
right.
athletes in the north have full choice, whether it's the Olympic Games, European or World Championships. Now, at the moment, the Commonwealth Games, all associations that are 32 county have a provision in the Constitution where athletes from there, whether they're boxers or athletes or cyclists, are allowed to be selected and compete for Northern Ireland in the Commonwealth Games. It's the only area of competition in the world that you see in Northern Ireland. They don't.
I'm just trying to. Sorry, I may have misunderstood you. So, what is your reservation again? Sorry.
No, my only reservation.
Frankie's proposition. I just want to
no, the only reservation with the Senator's question is that if Ireland was to decide to go into the Commonwealth Games, which I don't have any objection to, it would have to be an all-island team.
Okay.
That we'd go as an all-island 32 county team.
So therefore, if I live in the north and I want to be part, recognising my Britishness, if I am that person, which is, if I want to be part of the British Commonwealth Games team.
No,
as opposed to
Mr. Chairman, there is no such thing now as the British Commonwealth. It's the Commonwealth of Nations.
Oh, sorry, but with the UK team, say, as opposed to an all-island team. Are you saying you wouldn't agree to that?
In the Commonwealth Games.
That's the question, Frankie.
No, in the Commonwealth Games, Mr. Chairman, there's no such thing as a UK team. All the home countries, as they call, all into separate teams.
Right, but if I wanted to identify with my Britishness, right?
Yes.
How would I do that?
Oh, they have the choice. They can compete for England or the UK if they so wish.
So you wouldn't object to that?
Oh no, that's already built in. There's an agreement already that any athletes from Northern Ireland have a right to choice to compete for Great Britain or Ireland. The problem is, Mr. Chairman, and I repeat it again, is that Athletics Ireland will tell you when they're in that an athlete from any part of the island of Ireland can compete for Ireland. What they fail to tell you is it's only the Republic. That's where the problem is. And we want it for the whole island. Now, when we go to the Olympic Games, which is a very interesting thing, Senator, when we go to the Olympic Games, everything goes as all Ireland. Our athletes, and when I say athletes, that's the general term, but specifically the runners, track and field people. When we go to the Olympic Games, we go as an all-Ireland team, with no problem. We're recognised by the biggest sporting federation in the world, the International Olympic Committee, as representing the island of Ireland. There's a statement from the President of the Olympic Council in the appendix. So can somebody tell me if it's good enough for us to go as an all-island team to the biggest sporting festival in the world, and the IAAF won't allow us to represent the island of Ireland, that we have to be restricted to 26 counties? It doesn't make sense. But the big problem is people have tried over a long number of years to address this issue. But all we hear all the time is, look, don't raise this issue. The cooperation between North and South is excellent. Do you want to be responsible for breaking that down? And then everybody goes into a separate corner and is never spoken about again for 10 or 15 years. So we thank you for the opportunity today of highlighting this, because this is what it is going to do. We know for a fact there is a large percentage of our population that want this. And for some reason or other, there's a very small percentage that are opposed to it. Now, I don't know why anyone would oppose to this, because our proposal is respecting all traditions. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Chanador, sorry, now, I don't mark you a member of the committee. Okay, so I have to give him preference over on Chanador the leader. Okay.
I might not be very
short.
short.
No, not be rude. And what you are the Fianna Fáil rep officially, so that's fair. I'm trying to make sure everybody's happy with the time.
And thanks very much, and thank you for your presentation. It's actually one of the best ones I've seen, because normally, people don't come in with an ask, and it's quite clear what you're asking, and I would hope that the Chairman will support the proposals made in relation to going to the Minister, but also going to the IAAF and making the case. And I like Senator Feighan said, like, we've just come from the Decade of Commemorations Committee where we're talking about marking the partition of the country, and obviously we're dealing with the consequences of that in all sorts of ways, but particularly in sport. And it is a broader issue, and I brought this up supporting that you would come in here in the reverse sense, and hockey was referred to previously, where the European Hockey Federation are insisting that those who are coming from Northern Ireland and playing for Ireland in hockey, I understand, are being asked to get Irish passports.
For an All-Ireland team, yeah.
Yeah, for an All-Ireland team. But under the Good Friday Agreement, if you're allowed to have either a British identity or an Irish identity, then you shouldn't be forced by anybody to turn around and get a passport. Is that the same in athletics?
Yes.
And I think that is a concern, because, like, it should be, if we're going to be inclusive, and I do recognise the point that Senator Feighan was making in relation to the Commonwealth Games, because, you know, sport is sport. There is a discussion about how you would accommodate that if people wanted to participate in it, on the basis that you were talking about. But it is, obviously you're talking about athletics in its broadest sense, and my concern is that people who want to participate in an all-island team are being asked to do things by a European federation or a world federation that is actually contrary to the Good Friday Agreement itself in terms of identity, and who they are, and who they identify as a person in terms of their nationality and where they're coming from. So I think it's a broader issue as well, but I think the issue that you outlined and you want us to address is something that we should support, but also recognising that there are other issues that we should also address, Chairman, about sports like hockey and others, asking people to come up with passports that they don't necessarily have an affinity towards, and it's contrary to the Good Friday Agreement.
Okay, I'll have to take Deputy Coppinger. You're next.
It's okay. I'm not ready to come in yet.
No, sorry. It's again. Apologies. The rule here is
nobody else in. Just lock the door, Chairman.
We've never done that yet, but it's just a rule that we have. We take members quickly, but I think Deputy Coppinger wishes.
Somebody else can go ahead for now.
That's fine. So, and Shannon Daly Tá on floor with Nish.
Finally, thank you. I just want to begin, Chairman. Thanks for allowing me to come in and contribute to this, because I do think it's a very important debate, and it certainly is cross-cutting. You and Senator Feighan and I all sit on the Good Friday Agreement Implementation Committee, and for me, while it shouldn't have to, this issue obviously goes right to the root of a 21-year-old international agreement, and the barrier that has been put up against athletes, I think, runs contrary to that agreement. And I just want to, for the purpose of the record, Chair, read a part of Article 2 of the Constitution, which says it's the entitlement and birthright of every person born in the island of Ireland, which includes its islands and seas, to be part of the Irish nation. So I want to commend you for taking this stand on behalf of, obviously, our athletes and sports stars who feel very passionate about this, who shouldn't have to, at this late stage, 21 years after the Good Friday Agreement, be kicking down the door to have what is a very modest and basic entitlement and right, both under the GFA and constitutionally afforded to them as well. So just so I'm clear, I just want to ask two questions, Chair, and that is that, so I understand this right, athletes competing at an Olympic level are competing representing Ireland in its entirety, so they're representing the island. When it comes to European and international competitions, while athletes from the north can participate, the entity that they are representing at that European and international stage is merely the 26 counties.
That's correct.
Okay, so that is the ask here. That is what needs to change for the purposes of equality and for the purposes of citizenship and everything else. That if my neighbour in Belfast is a gifted athlete and wants to declare for Ireland at the international stage, the other neighbour across the road might want to compete for Team GB, and that's fine, as you rightly acknowledge. If we are to be true to the GFA, then that is their right and entitlement as well. I don't think anyone in the political climate we're in wants to be identified as being anti-agreement. are running contrary to the agreement. And if Athletics Ireland are currently operating in the way that they are, I believe that they are running contrary to that agreement, and that gives me cause for great concern as an individual, but more importantly as a member of this Oireachtas. And I think it's very important that we do hear from them and what their rationale and logic is for sustaining that very outdated and I think unequal position going forward. So it's really just to ask that question. Well, I'm clear now around the issue of the representation, but just if you could maybe give us, if you have the statistics or whether it's anecdotal or not, a view of the broader view of athletes. You know, are you talking just how wide an issue is this? Because certainly I know it presents itself in other avenues of life, not just in the sporting world. So it doesn't surprise me that it has become an issue. But just so we as a committee clear, this is obviously something that has mobilised yourselves and has warranted just coming in before us. So it's just to get a view on that, Chair, and thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like Dara, he has a short statement to read and it will answer the Senator's question.
Fine. Just before you do, I just want to, I have a meeting at 1 o'clock, and I know it's a half an hour away and I'll have to go down, but we can pay, the Vice Chair isn't here, so if we're still in session, somebody else will take the chair, we can raise that. Sorry, go ahead.
Dara, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Dara Renix and I'm a runner with Bortmean Athletic Club in County Meath. I'd like to thank the committee for allowing me the opportunity to speak on a serious issue of the boundary rule that negatively affects all Irish athletes at European and World Championships. It is a great honour to represent your country in any sport in Ireland, but unfortunately with athletics it is tinged with the fact that you are not representing the island of Ireland. You are only representing the Republic of Ireland. When I bring this up with my athletic friends, north and south, they are amazed that this is the case. We all feel it would impede our future chances of selection on national squads if they bring this issue up with senior officials. In the Ireland of today, political interference by sport is mind-blowing. This situation has been allowed to go on for decades, and I think it's time that it is rectified as soon as possible, so that my generation and future generations will have the honour and opportunity to represent the island of Ireland at IAAF international competitions. And wouldn't that be just wonderful? Thank you very much for your attention.
So that's the answer to your question. The athletes, quite a number of international athletes coming from the north, until very recently were unaware that they were running for the Republic of Ireland. They assumed they were running for the island of Ireland. They're very taken back about this. But as Dara has just indicated in his submission there, they won't raise it. They're athletes. Now, athletes are busy preparing for a heavy schedule of running events. They're not going to get involved in the nitty-gritty like this stuff. But there is an issue there where they won't raise it because it may affect their future prospects of getting on an Irish team.
Okay, Deputy Coppinger.
I'm just wondering, what is the attitude of the Athletics Association in Northern Ireland and Britain in relation to the rule?
Well, to go back to the 1999 agreement, the British endorsed it, and there's letters to that effect in the file, so that Athletics Northern Ireland. Their attitude from the British point of view is if there's a situation in Ireland and it's resolved, they'll endorse it. With regard to Athletics Northern Ireland, the situation at the moment is they have a representative on the board of Athletics Ireland, and vice versa. Athletics Ireland have a representative on the board. Cooperation between the two organisations is very good. And that's where the trouble lies. They won't address this issue. It's been in abeyance now for quite a number of years. But as I was saying earlier on to the Chairman, and a question he raised, the attitudes of Athletics Northern Ireland towards an all-Ireland team, from my meetings with them over the years, is one that they, as I say, they could live with. So that's the situation. So this situation can be resolved. With a bit of goodwill on all sides and a good push from the political world, it can be resolved. For the betterment of our... This is, by the way, Deputy, this is all about is for the betterment of Irish athletics and Irish athletes. It will remove the stigma from their world, and they can go on and concentrate on what they should be doing, getting good performances and representing the whole island of Ireland.
And have you had a meeting with the Minister himself about this recently?
No. Not yet. Mr. Chairman, we intend after today, this is a platform to start today, we intend requesting a meeting with the Minister, we intend requesting meetings with both organisations, North and South, and with John Tracy, and we intend, if possible, to re-engage the North-South Ministerial Council, because the British and Irish Government and the North Ministerial Council were extremely helpful to us. And we had also, I have to acknowledge here, great help from Martin McAleese and Norris and Uachtaran.
Okay.
Well, Chairman, could I make a suggestion that we as a committee would ask the Minister to facilitate such a meeting as soon as possible?
We've already agreed on this, that we will send the correspondence to both the Minister and Athletic Ireland, not right? Or Sport Ireland, sorry. Sorry, Feighan.
Send the correspondence for an update from Sports Ireland when they're in with us at the next meeting as to how they've progressed this matter, what they've done, and then to the Minister to ask him would he have a look at those proposals and pursue them.
Sorry, go ahead.
Am I right in thinking that this is sometimes, and I've mentioned it, an issue? You know, you have two clubs, let's say rural clubs in GA, let's say, and you have a chairman and you have a secretary at each club and you have players in each club, and for the betterment the two clubs really should come together. But the GA don't mind this, but really the issue is the chairman feels that he may lose his of one club, that he can only be one chairman and even players, and I think that's what it comes down to, that you have big fish in small ponds, and what you're trying to do is get an all-island structure, which is very, very welcome, but you'll also have resistance from within that structure. And am I right in saying that's probably
yes, Senator. And the situation in 1999, the then Minister for Sport made it very clear that the government weren't going to fund. They were going to fund one athletic body, and with Sports Ireland, I think they had a name at that time. Pressure was applied, substantial pressure was applied on the athletic bodies to come together. And I think if that same thing is done, because you're right, there are individuals in different organisations that have created or retaining positions of power for themselves at the detriment of the athletes, and that should be exposed. And again, I reiterate, this is for the good of Irish athletics, for an all-island basis. This will do nothing but good.
Next Tuesday. Okay, I think that's all the questions then. Sorry, yeah.
Say a few words, and of course, you will get the gist of what this thing is about. And column is a very short thing to say as well.
No problem.
This is Willie Keane from Kilkeen, County Clare.
Mr. Chairman and committee members, I'll be quite brief because I think nearly everything is said. My name is William Keane and I'm from the St John's Athletic Club in West Clare. I would firstly like to thank you for your invitation to attend here today. I am the holder of 56 Senior All-Ireland in ACAI titles, incorporating road, cross-country and track. I am very proud to say that these gold medals are on display in the GAA Museum in Croke Park since July 2015. I recently celebrated my 70th birthday, and looking back at my athletic career, I remember with great pride the numerous times I was selected as captain of an Irish NACAI team that competed in various events around Europe. I always viewed this as a tremendous honour to be representing the island of Ireland in those events abroad. This indeed is very close to my heart and I feel very passionate about it. However, it is with great sadness for me to say that I was not allowed to compete in European and World Championships because of my beliefs and principles in wanting to represent the island of Ireland. As I've said, Lawrence has already outlined the reasons why, and there's no need for me to repeat this. The main reason I'm here today is to ask you for your support for the proposal to obtain a derogation from the political boundary rule, so as to allow all Irish men and women to have the honour of representing the island of Ireland in all international events. I personally was deprived of competing in European, World and Olympic Championships, and I sincerely hope that this does not happen to any other Irish athlete. I have given the best part of my 70 years to the sport of athletics, both as an athlete and a coach. I feel that the time is now right for Ireland to be recognised as the island of Ireland in all international competitions. I would appeal to you once more, Mr. Chairman, and your committee to support us in any way you can in ensuring the removal of a political boundary rule that exists on this island in a sport we love and cherish. The time is now right to conclude this with the arrival of Brexit and the problems this may cause. Now, finally, I would like to thank both Imelda, Neil, Mark and John and Frank for their contribution here today, and I feel quite sure, and Mr. Chairman, and I feel quite sure that we are going to get the support we're looking for going forward. And I would finally like to wish all our young and very talented generation of Irish athletes up and coming good health and success in their athletic careers. Sinna will go to Mabwid.
Colin, you want to say something there?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody. Really didn't include Ruth, and thank you for attending. It's a pleasure to me to address the Dáil Committee, and I hope to enlighten you on a long-standing issue of the political boundary rule, and maybe put a different slant on it that I personally think, and that we've discussed this and sanctioned it by our team. My name is Colin Rennick, I'm from County Meath, and I have a long family background in the GAA and athletics. In my case, I have been competing in athletics since I was 15, after retiring from the GAA at around 20, and actually going maniac runner. I won All-Ireland titles at road, cross country and track. And I won races internationally representing the NSAI, who at the time was an All-Ireland Irish team, and I was very happy to do that. And that's the real reason I chose the NSAA to compete with, was specifically because they were All-Ireland. Now I'm here to carry the torch for much better men and women than I was, who have passed away and never experienced the pleasure of seeing an Irish athlete representing the island of Ireland at a European and World Championships, which I'm sure you find very strange. I know many athletes who feel discriminated against because of the present situation. For example, an athlete from County Meath cannot represent his or her friend from County Armagh or any other county in the north of Ireland. And even worse again, an athlete from Armagh cannot represent their parish, town or county because the IAAF International Championships, they must choose to compete for Ireland or represent Great Britain or represent the Republic of Ireland. So if you happened to be born in Armagh and choose to be an Irish citizen, you also have the dilemma as an athlete that you must choose to represent Great Britain and Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland at World and European Championships. I feel an injustice bestowed on one Irish athlete citizen is an injustice for all Irish citizens, and that is why the IAAF International Boundary Rule should be addressed urgently in Ireland's case. And I hope to receive your consideration and help in this issue, because I feel that, and I thank you again for giving us the attention you have, and hope that you can help us in this pursuit that's gone on for many, many years. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to thank our witnesses. The committee is now adjourned till 1:30 p.m. on the 10th of July 2019.
Before you close, could I acknowledge...
I
just want to acknowledge Paul and Tony for the
problem.
courtesy for the last couple of days.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Okay.